Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Heroes of the Storm. Looking at the technical alpha still, getting a few matches recorded with interesting characters as I can before everything kind of goes down on me. And today I want to look at one of the more interesting characters, probably the most interesting character of them all when it comes to Heroes of the Storm. We are looking at Abathur. Abathur is a specialist hero. He doesn't fight conventionally. In fact, he practically doesn't fight at all. He maintains a presence globally around the map, but I'll just kind of come up here and you can see there from one hit I'm getting absolutely destroyed. I kind of want to show the damage he really does, which is kind of non-existent. Abathur attacks in melee, but really you don't want him to. Like here, look at that, it's 18 damage. Just look how fast Abathur dies. He is really meant to be support in his own way. So let's look at what happens when you're Abathur. The first thing you get is a trait here called Locust Strain. It spawns a locust to attack down the nearest lane every 20 seconds. So rather than Abathur going out and fighting, these little guys here go out into the lane instead. And they're pretty tough, but as you can see from the bar underneath it, it has a time limit. So the idea with Abathur is really not to go out and fight. It's to stay behind and kind of mastermind things. Now, you don't want to be all the way back at the base, though, because these things have a time limit. You want your locusts to push as far as they can. So, if you want to be a good Abathur, really what you want to do is find some kind of balance between pushing forward and staying behind. At the very least, you want to do like this. You want to be here behind a wall, close to the lane, close to what's going on. If you ever need to move, certainly you can walk. But Abathur doesn't mount. Instead, he's got Deep Tunnel, which he can use every 30 seconds. Any place that you have vision, you can use Deep Tunnel. And you can just kind of click. I don't have a vision anywhere right now. But you can click, and he will burrow and appear.
Determining efficient route.
Now the enemy can't knock you out of it unless they stun you, so basic damage won't stop it. So if you're about to get hit by an enemy, you can try and burrow quickly, and unless they hit you with a knockback or some kind of stun, you might just get away. So the idea behind Abathur is to kind of move around the map where he's needed. What makes him interesting is because of his locust presence and because of his ability to move around the map in a global perspective. Abathur can hold a lane, and he can hold one lane with his locusts while holding a different lane supporting a hero. So how does he do that? How does he support the lane globally? Well, he's got a couple ways of doing that. Let's look at his primary abilities first. Well, we're going to skip Symbio. We're going to go first to Toxic Nest, because this is really the only ability Abathur has as Abathur. Toxic Nest, you can see it holds 3 charges. It's a 12-second cooldown between charges. Abathur has no mana, you might also notice. Toxic Nest spawns a mine that becomes active after a short time, and here it does 50 damage and reveals the enemy for 4 seconds, and it does last for 90 seconds. So a minute and a half this thing's lasts. I'll just go ahead and hit it, and you can see I can kind of put it down. There is a range. There's the blue bar you can see right there. It is very large. It is not global. So I said global, but it's close. You can augment it with talents to be global. But here you can see I can just kind of put these things down. Now, they do show up to the enemy here until that yellow bar goes away, and then they, as you can see, transform, and now they're invisible. The enemy cannot see them now unless they use some kind of vision capability, such as Tassadar's Oracle. So they will sit there and stay there, and you can use these effectively to, well, you can clear the lane with them if you so desire. So if I clear my cooldowns and just kind of do this, let's just go ahead and toggle the minions so you can kind of see them come in and what they'll do. And I've got a huge army of locusts now because of they hold back in try mode. You normally would not have this huge army here, but this is actually pretty interesting to watch. But those things are, and you can use them to just kind of, I'll just put them back here. Unfortunately, the towers are going to kill them. But you can use these to kind of put them in a lane when the enemy minions are about to walk up and destroy them. So I can basically maintain a presence in one lane. Since there's only one lane here, it's really hard to kind of really show off. But I could do that. I could basically stay in this lane, let my locust push on this lane. As long as I'm close, I can soak up experience. And then I can go to another lane with my toxic nests and put those down to stop the enemy from approaching. Now, alternatively, I could use my symbiote. I can use this every 4 seconds. I assist a target allied unit or structure and allows me to shield them and use new abilities for 45 seconds. Now, you can't use it on yourself, of course. You can't use it on grave golems or summoned units, but I can use it on the creep line. I can use it on any of the, like here, I'll toggle minions. I can go ahead and toggle my symbiote, and there I am. You'll see that my body goes into this pod, and there's this little symbiote floating over its head. And this gives me kind of a vision of around this character. I can't see cloaked units, so I shouldn't really say vision. But it allows me to see around him, and the camera follows. And it gives me these 3 new abilities. Let's go ahead and toggle the minions because that kills it. If they kill it, it doesn't hurt you. The only way they can kill Abathur is to actually kill him, which means most Abathurs will typically go unkilled for a long match, unless they're active and trying to push forward, in which case they might get killed in that case. So let's look at Symbiote. I'm going to go ahead and just put it on this tower. As a Symbiote, you gain 3 abilities, and again, you have no mana. You can spam things at will. It's all cooldown based. So you have Stab. You don't get a basic attack as a Symbiote. This is the closest thing you have. It is a 3-second cooldown ability. You shoot a spike towards the enemy area. It does 57 damage to the first enemy in contact. So it only hits the first enemy. It's kind of like Snipe for Nova. But as you can see here, you can just kind of spam it. Since you don't have a basic attack, but this is the closest thing to it. And since you're following an allied hero or unit, they can focus on moving while you focus on shooting. And this is really great if your ally is chasing an enemy, they're trying to get away, and they're maintaining distance. You can keep shooting and doing damage to the enemy while your allied runs and chases them down. As you can see, it lasts 45 seconds. You have to wait the prerequisite 4-second cooldown, and then you can do it again. This you can do globally on any allied unit. The second ability is Spike Burst, a 6-second cooldown. It does 42 damage and an AoE. So comparatively, we see here that's 57 compared to 42, so the damage is not that much less, but it's in a nice area of effect. So if you've got an Abathur on your team and he's got a symbiote on you, one of the best things you can do is get close to things you want to kill. So if he's helping you kill the line, get close to the line so it does an AoE, but don't get close if it's going to cause you to possibly die. If you've got Abathur helping you, don't be reckless about it, because he's only so much he can do. It will help you with damage, but if you're a ranged character, stay at ranged. He can still use his spikes. Now, the last ability Abathur has is a shield. So you've got 2 abilities to do damage and 1 ability to defend. So this is the Carapace. You can use it every 12 seconds, and it shields the ally here for 156. Lasts for 8 seconds. So I'll go ahead and put it on. You can see there it is. There's the Carapace, and it is shielding this unit. And as you can see, you can use it on buildings. So smart Abathurs will defend buildings with their Carapace and give that tower additional abilities. They can also push lines. I can also, well, I can cancel early for 1, so the R key will cancel early. But I can symbiote on my own little locusts. And since locusts are a little bit stronger than most of the line minions, this can be very useful. And I have seen Abathurs use this very effectively. And once again, that means Abathur can be in one lane, pushing with locusts, and defending another lane with symbiote. That makes Abathur the most unique hero that currently exists in the game. So, what about his ultimate? Well, let's level up to 10. Because Abathur is unique in another regard. He only has 1 ultimate ability. But it is also fairly strong. So at level 10, you gain Ultimate Evolution. And as you can see, it is the only one you get. Ultimate Evolution is a copy ability. Every 2 minutes, 2-minute cooldown, 120 seconds, you can clone a target allied hero and control it for 45 seconds. This does not include talents. It is a base hero. Now what it does include is their ultimates. So if you've got, say, a Nova on your team that has picked up triple tap, that is a good hero to pick up, because then you can use that to damage soft targets. And if both of you use triple tap, you can almost be guaranteed a kill. So you can coordinate this to double up ultimates that are lethal on their own, but probably overpowered together. So here, if I were to pick up Malfurion, I can hit R, target Malfurion, and the clone spawns next to the person you target. So you will, if you need to assist a hero quickly, you want to pick that, pick the hero that you want to assist, because you will spawn right on top of them. And there you go. I am now a copy of Malfurion. I have Regrowth, I have Moonfire, and I have Entangling Roots. He has not picked a heroic ability, so unfortunately I can't use that, but I also do have his Innervate. So I have everything he has just at a base level. And as you can hear, maybe a little bit there in the background, the character that he controls has some of their lines that they normally have, but they are obviously droning in a very mind-controlled fashion. So I do like the fact that they went that extra mile. So you have full control of a duplicate copy of a hero. So that's it. That's really Abathur right there in a nutshell. You want to be very cautious. Stay back, but don't stay too far back. And push forward as you can, but still stay behind enemy lines. Sometimes keep them guessing, because if you go into an area, the enemy can trace these locusts. They'll know where you're coming from these locusts. There was an Abathur that was very clever, that was hiding behind my lines at one point, but I found his locust and just traced him down. He wasn't paying attention to the fact that I was tracing him. And I ultimately killed him a couple times because of it. So you can be too focused, and because Abathur has this global view of everything, you want to make sure that you're paying attention to your surroundings and check on your body every now and then, because it's very easy to think you're safe, especially behind a wall like this, and an enemy might come up behind you or sneak around your towers just to kill you. Alright, so we've looked at Abathur. Let's take a look at his abilities. At level 1, you have Eradicate Minions. This enhances your symbiote's Spike Burst ability. So if I were to put my symbiote down here, Spike Burst is the W. So what's weird here is this says Q, but that's because it's for symbiote. But it is Spike Burst, so keep in mind that it is the W for the symbiote. It's just, it shows up very awkwardly here. It does 50% more damage to non-heroic targets. So what that means is you'll probably want to get something like Eradicate Minions if you're trying to sustain a lane by yourself, which Abathur could do. It seems a little awkward, but he definitely can do it by putting down his symbiote and following his locust and getting something like Eradicate Minions, because then he can use his Spike Burst to do a bunch of damage to the line and keep pushing it back. You can get Combat Adaptation for your locust. This lets the locust gain a 20% more attack speed, or you can give them Survival Instincts and give the locust 30% more health. So you have an option here. Focus on damaging minions with your symbiote, or focus on your locusts and either give them more speed or more health. The truth of the matter is, it's very difficult to make the distinction here. If you are pushing fairly well, attack speed can be quite nice to just make the locust just really push the line further. The last ability here at this level is Envenomed Nest, where the Toxic Nest will deal 30% more damage over 3. So not only will the nest blow up, but it will poison the enemy. So here really it all comes down to playstyle. There is not one here really that seems to be massively over the others, although the locusts, when built right, can be very powerful, so you'll probably want to buff them in some way. Typically, you'll probably want to go for attack speed, especially since you've got some talents which will allow you to spawn more of these little guys.
Choose a talent.
At level 4, you can get Barb Spines, which increases the damage of the stab ability. So once again, it'll say Q, but this time it really is Q, because the stab ability is Q on the symbiote. So here, so you can increase the damage of stab by 20%. It is already pretty powerful, doing here 96 at this level. And so you can make that even stronger, so you can help destroy enemy heroes by using this. You can also get increase the Spike Burst range, increases its range by 100%. So to kind of put that into perspective, there's standard Spike Burst range right there, which is pretty decent. If we were to increase its range even further, you can see it goes really wide. If you're trying to push back a lane and you've increased the damage of Spike Burst against non-heroic targets, then this will probably be the talent that you want to pick. If you want to continue to focus on your nests, you can also get Ballista Spores. Okay, I'm not entirely sure if that's right, but Ballista Spores, we're going to go with it. This makes it so your Toxic Nest can be placed from unlimited range. So you get true global presence with this. You can take this and put it anywhere you want to. I can go all the way over to the enemy base if I so desire, and look at that. I've just put a whole bunch of these nests right on top of their spawn zone. And you can do that. You're really not going to do much with that unless you're an enemy that is hurt, tries to run back to their base, in which case, yes, you'll kill them probably, but these don't do enough damage to outright kill an enemy hero. So if they're coming out of their base, they'll just get blown up and they'll just walk back to the base, get healed. So that's not as overpowered as it might appear, but having a global presence with these toxic nests can be very useful.
Choose a talent.
And lastly, for level 4, you can get Promote, a 60-second cooldown. It activates to give a targeted allied lane minion 300% permanent health and 100% permanent damage increase, and it has 2 charges. If you've ever seen the video I did on Zagara, you know how powerful Infest was. Now, Infest is different in the fact that all it did was boost damage, but it boosted damage by like 300%. It was an amazing amount of damage, and a catapult with that did massive amounts of damage. With this, you can kind of make it work the same way. You could put it on a catapult and make that catapult do additional damage, but because it boosts health by such a massive amount, you can use it to boost like the knight minions to try and push back a lane further with your locusts, or put it on a knight minion that's not in the lane with you and your locusts and give them additional health. You cannot give it to your locusts, of course, and I'll go ahead and toggle minions to kind of show the promoted, and you'll see they are a bit bigger and they have a little bit of a glow. So if you're playing against an Abathur or a character that has promote, you know what to look for. At level 7, you can increase the range of stab by 33%. So if we put the symbiote on, you can see it has a pretty decent range to begin with, roughly the same range of snipe on Nova. Increasing the range on stab by 33%, as you can see, gives you a very nice increase in damage, giving you about the same range that Nova has when she augments her abilities. You can use that in combination, of course, with the increased stab damage to make your character be a very nice ranged assassin. Keep in mind, if you put a symbiote on a cloaked ally, that ally will remain cloaked, as will your symbiote, and you can actually fire your abilities from the cloaked ally, and they will not be uncloaked. So you can use that to your advantage. The enemy will not be able to auto-target them. They will be able to skill shot them, of course, but you can chase down with a cloaked ally when using this ability. At rank 7, you can also augment your carapace, so this will be the first ability, the first rank that allows you to do so. In this case, you will allow Symbiote's carapace to heal the target, in this case 21 health per second. Since the carapace, let's go ahead and take a look at that, carapace lasts for about 8 seconds, so you're getting 21 health over 8. It's not a massive heal, but it can be enough to save someone's life. So if you're trying to help an ally be defensive, you can do that. Or you can get carapace regeneration to push your own lane. Maybe you're trying to push it with your minions. You could definitely do that. As far as healing buildings, well, that one is difficult to say. I do believe it might be able to, but it is not something I've been able to do extensive testing on, so please try that at your own risk. Vile Nest is another option here, where Toxic Nest will slow the enemies by 50% movement speed for 2 seconds. So as you can see, you can go a pure Toxic Nest build if you want. If you believe you can follow globally and put Nest down very easily, you can increase its damage, you can make it global, and then of course you've got this 50% movement speed slow. That's very nice because you can put these things inside of grass and clear off checkpoints and keep the enemies from getting away. Keep in mind that they do have that like 10-second cooldown period before they'll actually blow up. And lastly, for level 7, you have Call Down Mule. Every 60 seconds, you can call down a mule that starts repairs on the structures one at a time. It repairs near the target point where you put it down. It lasts for a minute, and it heals, in this case, 100 health every second, and it grants 1 ammo every 5 seconds. So it's a great way to help sustain your lane. So you can both push back the lane you're in and sustain it at the same time. Get things like Promote, Call Down Mule, and you can really make yourself a minion-focused Abathur, and possibly even hold that lane by yourself through your minions. If you play it right, you might be able to even symbiote another lane while your minions are holding the current lane for you, and really help that push. Level 13 gives us more augments to the locusts. So we saw at level 1 you could increase their health or their attack speed. And this is where that choice can really start to matter. Because now you can give them one of two abilities, a melee ability or a ranged ability. You have Assault Strain, which allows them to cleave, and then on death they will explode for, in this case, 216. That can be quite useful because you can get the locust to push, and then as the enemy team destroys the locust, they also take damage. You can also get Bombard Strain, which the locust then gain a long-ranged attack, and it's a siege attack, so it's very useful for attacking buildings. So if you're trying to push with allies and push against buildings, this one might be more of a better choice. But the locust cleave and explosion is very powerful, and typically one of the choices that I see a lot of people going for instead. If you don't want to augment your locust, though, you don't want to go for a build like that, you can get spatial efficiency, which gives you an additional charge of stab. That can be nice. I mean, 3 charges in a row, back to back to back, so you can just attack very quickly. That is nice, but keep in mind it is only on a 3-second cooldown, so it is quite easy to continually attack with stab. It is not one I typically recommend, but it is certainly not without its merits. And then lastly, once again, you have another nest augmentation in which you can gain additional charges on that as well. The cooldown on the nest is 12 seconds, so that might be one to consider because of the longer cooldown. As you're doing work in a lane, you wait long enough and then you'll have 5 charges to put down very quickly. Otherwise, you've got to wait for the 3. So you have some options there with these charges. Typically, the locust seems to be the one that you really want to get. The assault strain just really does a lot of powerful work. A lot of people tend to go for the locust no matter what build they want to go for on their Abathurs. I'm just going to go ahead and toggle the minions here with the cleave and explosion so you can kind of see this minion at work. See, there it goes in, doing a bunch of damage. Actually did quite a bit to that line. That one minion right there is already at half. And I've got another locust coming up in a second here. There we go, I was just going to hide down here for the moment. And you can see it just pushing in, doing a really great job of pushing back, and then the explosion doing a bunch of damage. Alright, and this time I'll show off the Bombard Strain. This is pretty useful, actually. Clearing the cooldown spawns another locust every time, so I can actually show this, show off how they work. So this is the Bombard Strain, the one that is more ranged focused. So it doesn't have a cleave, but as you can see, it goes in and attacks, and they focused there on Arthas first and foremost, it looks like. But yeah, they're doing more ranged attack here, focusing on the back. Doing about 90 damage a hit here at level 13. And again, these can be very useful if you've got allies in the lane with you, because then the locusts don't get focused down in the following AoE. Going back once again to the melee ones, kind of show, see if the damage is about the same. You can see, yes, they're doing 90. But not only are they doing 90, but they're cleaving. So the Assault Strain has the same damage, but gains the cleave. So what are you losing? You're losing siege damage, which typically means it just does more damage to the buildings instead. And Abathur's strength really lies on pushing the lane and getting the ammo down, so you really don't need to worry too much about siege damage. Typically the cleave is going to get the job done for you. Level 16 gives you some pretty nice utility-based abilities here. You've got Envenom Spikes, which Spike Burst will then slow enemies that it hits, so it slows them by 40%. So if you're trying to help your allies and get kills, that can be quite useful because it keeps the enemy from running away. Alternatively, you can get Adrenaline Boost, which increases the movement speed of the target you are enhancing by 40%. So basically your choice here is between slowing the enemy down or speeding your ally up. Both are very interesting choices and can be used very differently. Obviously, the slow is used mostly for assault, although you can defend a little bit. If the enemy gets hit, they can't chase as well. But the carapace can be used both offensively and defensively, because then when you know your ally needs to get away, you can give them a quick boost of speed. And the downside here, though, is that these are both side by side to another really great talent, and that is Locust Swarm. This is where your decisions for your locusts are really going to matter. If you've augmented them in any way, you'll probably want to go for this one. This allows you to spawn a nest that spawns 3 locusts immediately. So I'll go ahead and pick that one. You see it goes into the number 1. It has a 45-second cooldown. which means you can, every 45 seconds, put down this group of allied little locusts and they do a bunch of damage. And this is why you typically are going to pick, in this case, the assault strain, because you're basically putting down a group of locusts that are going to blow up on the enemy. So it's almost like having an attack for free. Just go out there every 45 seconds, throw these things out into your lane to do damage to the enemy. So they're very, very useful. Alright, well, we've hit 20. And Abathur is kind of an odd duck here when it comes to level 20, because he only has 2 abilities. He does not gain two generic choices here, like every other character. The only generic he has is Bolt of the Storm. Anything else would just be weird on him, I think, because if he got Resurgence, that would just be weird. But it would kind of work, but at the same time, it might be too much for Abathur, because Abathur typically works well in the background at his base, and so having that ability to respawn quickly just probably would be a bit too much. Bolt of the Storm, probably the only one I could see them really giving them, and that of course is what they did choose. And that allows you to, if you need to, just quickly get away if the enemy is chasing you. And quite honestly, not the choice I would really make, because here you have Evolution Master. Evolution Master lowers the cooldown of Ultimate Evolution to 90 seconds and increases duration to 60 seconds. So that means you're only ever without your ultimate for like 30 seconds at a time, assuming you last the full duration. So Ultimate Evolution doesn't gain that much in augmentation, really. All it gains is a flat boost. It gains a shorter cooldown and a longer duration, and that's really all it needs. So Abathur at level 20 does not get very interesting, but he definitely gets very powerful. Because you can just basically take that evolution, go around, and attack enemies all day long. And the beautiful thing about the evolution, the copy that you create, is that it can die and it doesn't hurt you in the least. It doesn't count as a kill, and it has all the benefits of a standard hero minus the talents. And once again, just really making Abathur a very, very strong choice. Very interesting character. It's a character that will take time to learn, and take time even more so to master. I would say, honestly, to use, he's fairly simple, but the whole idea of needing to learn him, there is a lot that an Abathur can do to really help his team, but at the same time, a poor Abathur will really make the team feel that loss, because you're essentially taking a player off of the battlefield, especially in team fights and things like that. So you have to be very cautious about playing Abathur. And again, you want to find that mix between offensive and defensive play. Staying back, but if you can, maybe move forward to a forward position to get more duration on your Locust, or to have your Locust push in a position that the enemy team wasn't expecting. That can definitely be very useful. All right, and with that, there's 2 more things left. I will go ahead and give you guys all of the quotes from Abathur here. And after that, I'll show off the skins and recolors. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you at the skin section.
Must evolve. Swarm not good enough. Not. Perfection. Deep in the core. In strands. Pronouns unclear. Teammates much to improve. Reanimated tissue. Humanoid beast hybrids. Inefficient. Unacceptable. Work harder. Better. Make faster. Stronger. Evolution never over. Perfection. Goal that always changes. Can pursue. Cannot obtain. Similar to Ashbringer. Anger. Product of stress. Adrenaline. Clicking. No clicking. No anger. Design must be simple. Elegant. Implementation less so. Sequences must change. Intent static. Product fluid. Always can improve. Stressors reveal flaws. Flaws reveal potential. Always improving. Good. If evolution product of design is evolution, Evolution. Line of thought not productive. Abilities of organism Abathur well designed. Uncertain will not change. Entity Blizzard notorious for iteration. Symbiote, not bughat. Combined properties of Hydralisk and Roach. Hydra Roach. Must investigate. Ooh, not viable.
Alright, and here we have the skins for Abathur that are currently in the game. Abathur is one of the few that has a master skin at this point in time, so we'll go ahead and show you off the current model for Abathur. The white variant. And the red. Comparing this to the master skin, which has a lot more spikes. And the different colors. Unfortunately, this master skin, the different colors don't feel as interesting, but the master skin is definitely quite interesting to behold. Of course, since Abathur spends a lot of time in his symbiote, you probably won't see too much of it. But last, but not least,
At any time, set up, test, will demonstrate.
Pajamathur. Now in this case, he doesn't get colors, he gets patterns. So you've got the choo-choo train, the airplane, giant bug eye, I love that, and the logo for Heart of the Swarm. There you go. That is Abathur. Abilities, traits, skins, pajamas. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.